Welcome to Headstones&Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. Today, I am sitting across from a man who turned a laid-back island lifestyle into a global empire. He's the mayor of Margaritaville himself. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
Hi, Calvin. I'm Jimmy Buffett. Singer, songwriter, sailor, author, and occasional beach bum. Most people know me for a little song about a lost shaker of salt, but I like to think of myself as a professional vacationer who happened to write some tunes along the way.
You've certainly mastered the art of the workcation. Let's take it back to the very beginning. When and where were you born?
I arrived on Christmas Day, 1946, right in Pascagoula, Mississippi. A Christmas baby.
That's a big day for a birthday. What was your given name at birth?
Just James William Buffett.
Simple and classic. Is there a story behind your birth name?
It was a family tradition. I was named after my grandfather, James Delaney Buffett. He was a huge influence on me, a real-life steamship captain who traveled the world. I think I inherited my wanderlust directly from him.
You grew up near the water then. What was your hometown like?
I spent a lot of my childhood in Mobile, Alabama. It was a classic Gulf Coast upbringing. I grew up with the smell of salt air, the sound of foghorns, and that heavy southern humidity. It was a place where the water was always calling you, whether you were fishing or just watching the ships come in.
Sounds like a dream for a future sailor. What was your family life like?
It was solid. My parents worked for the Alabama Dry Dock and Shipbuilding Company. My dad was a tough but fair guy, and my mom was the one who really pushed education and reading. I had two sisters, Lucy and Lori, and we were a pretty tight-knit crew.
And what kind of kid were you? Were you already the life of the party?
I was a bit of a rambler even then. I was curious, maybe a little rebellious, and always looking for the next adventure. I wasn't the best student in the world because my mind was usually out at sea or wondering what was over the next horizon.
Even explorers have fears. What were your biggest fears growing up?
Honestly, being bored or stuck in one place. The idea of a 9-to-5 office job scared the daylights out of me. I was also pretty terrified of failing my grandfather's legacy. I wanted to live a life that was as big as his stories.
So, what did you dream of becoming as a child?
Because of my grandfather, I wanted to be a ship's captain. I wanted to see the world from a bridge of a boat. Music didn't really enter the picture as a career until much later.
Did you find any of that inspiration in the classroom? What were some of your favorite activities in school?
I loved history and journalism. I liked stories. I played trombone in the school band, which was my first real brush with music, though I have to admit I wasn't exactly a prodigy on the trombone.
Hey, we all start somewhere. What was your first job?
I worked on the docks, of course. I did everything from cleaning boats to running errands. My first real job after college was actually as a journalist for Billboard magazine in Nashville. I was the one breaking news about other people's music before I was making my own.
That's a fascinating pivot. Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It was probably when I moved to Key West in the early 70s. I had tried the Nashville scene and I just didn't fit the country mold. When I got to the Keys, I realized I didn't have to fit in. I could create my own world. I saw people living these colorful, eccentric lives on the water, and I realized these are my people.
Key West changed everything. What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Driving Jerry Jeff Walker's 1947 Packard to Key West. He had suggested I go down there to check it out. I thought it was just a quick trip to clear my head after a failed marriage and a stalled career in Nashville. That one drive essentially birthed the entire Margaritaville lifestyle.
Talk about a lucky turn. What was your biggest break?
Without a doubt, the song Margaritaville in 1977. It wasn't just a hit, it became a cultural phenomenon. It was the anchor that allowed me to build everything else, the restaurants, the hotels, the books.
It's the anthem of paradise. What were your biggest struggles before that success?
Oh, I was broke. I was playing for tips in bars, sleeping on couches, and having my first record completely flop. There were plenty of nights where I wondered if I was just a dreamer who was going to end up back on the docks.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Not really quitting life, but I definitely considered going back to being a full-time sailor or a journalist. But every time I got close to walking away, I'd write a new song that felt right, and it would keep me in the game for one more month.
I'm glad you stayed. Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel were essential to your success?
I was a morning person, believe it or not. People think I was up all night drinking, but I like to get up early, get on the water, or get some writing done while the world was quiet. Being organized is actually the secret to being a successful beach bum. You have to work hard to play that hard.
If the music hadn't worked out, what job would you have had if fame never happened?
I probably would have been a seaplane pilot or a travel writer. I love the technical side of flying and the storytelling side of travel.
What was your life like right before the fame hit?
It was very simple. It was Key West in the 70s. Lots of fishing, lots of cold beer, and playing music at the chart room for a handful of locals. It was a very free time.
How did your relationships change after that massive success?
It gets harder to know who your real friends are, but I was lucky. I kept a lot of my Coral Reefer band members with me for decades. We became a family. My wife Jane was my rock through the whole crazy ride.
Did fame bring you happiness?
It brought me the freedom to do what I love, and that brought me happiness. Fame itself is just a byproduct. Being able to buy a plane and fly myself to a remote island, now that brought me happiness.
I can imagine. What was the downside of becoming famous?
The loss of privacy. Sometimes you just want to sit on a beach and not be, quote, Jimmy Buffett. You want to just be the guy in the faded shorts.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People thought I was constantly drunk or high. In reality, I ran a very large business empire. You can't build $1 billion brand if you're actually wasted away all the time. I was a much better businessman than people gave me credit for.
That's a great point. What was your darkest moment?
In 1996, I was flying my seaplane, Hemisphere Dancer, and I was shot at by Jamaican police because they thought I was a drug smuggler. Bono from U2 was actually on the plane with me. It was terrifying, but in true fashion, I ended up writing a song about it called Jamaica Mistaka.
Only you could turn a near-death experience into a hit. What past regrets did you carry?
I think I wished I had spent a little more time at home in the early years. The road is a jealous mistress, and when you're chasing the dream, you miss things. But I tried to make up for it later in life.
What's something people misunderstood about your life?
And it was all a calculation. People thought the island guy thing was a marketing gimmick. I wasn't. I lived that life before I sold it. The songs were just reports from the front lines of my own life.
Tell me about a time when everything went wrong and how did you handle it?
Early on, I had a recording session in Nashville where the producer basically told me I had no talent and should go home. I felt humiliated. I handled it by getting in my car and driving until I hit the ocean. I realized that his opinion of good didn't match mine, and I decided to stop trying to please Nashville.
Did fame and fortune change your life?
It changed my zip code and my toys, but I like to think it didn't change my soul. I still like the same simple things: a good boat, a sharp hook, and a sunset.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My grandfather, Captain James. He gave me the map for my life. And Mark Twain, his writing, taught me how to tell a story with a wink and a smile.
What was life like in your final years?
I was busy. I was still touring, still writing, and still flying. I spent a lot of time in Sag Harbor in the Caribbean. I was enjoying the fruits of my labor, but never really slowing down.
What were you working on right before you passed?
I was finishing up my final album, Equal Strain on All Parts. I really poured my heart into those last songs.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on September 1, 2023, at my home in Sag Harbor, New York.
What happened?
I had been fighting a very rare and aggressive skin cancer called Merkel cell carcinoma for about 4 years. I kept it private because I wanted the focus to be on the music and the fun, not the struggle.
You certainly kept the party going until the end. What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I was a very serious sailor and held several world records in flying. Also, I was a huge fan of the New Orleans Saints. I even tried to buy a piece of the team once.
What's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
That I actually owned every single Margaritaville restaurant personally and would show up to flip burgers at random. I wish I had that much energy. I was the face of the brand, but I had a whole team of great people running the day-to-day.
What was your most unique habit?
I used to write song lyrics on napkins, bar coasters, or even my own hand if I didn't have paper. Some of my best lines started as a scribble on a wet coaster.
What was your favorite food?
Aside from a cheeseburger in paradise, I loved fresh stone crab claws with a little mustard sauce.
Did you have a favorite restaurant?
The Chart Room in Key West will always have the most special place in my heart. It's where it all began.
What was your favorite book?
Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. I always identified with the guy chasing windmills, even if people thought he was a little crazy.
Did you have any known rivalries?
Not really. I got along with most folks. I think some serious musicians didn't take me seriously, but I didn't mind. I was having more fun than they were.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
One time I was sailing and got completely lost in a fog bank. I had all this fancy equipment, but it failed. I had to rely on my ears to hear the surf hitting the rocks to navigate my way back. It was a humbling reminder that nature is always the boss.
What's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
Probably the time we tried to film a music video with a live parrot that absolutely refused to sit on my shoulder. It kept biting my ear and trying to fly into the margarita machine. We spent 4 hours chasing a bird around a bar.
Did you ever prank someone?
Oh, all the time on tour. We used to hide things in each other's luggage or mess with the set lists. One time we convinced a new roadie that he had to wear a full grass skirt to tune the guitars in Hawaii. He did it too.
That's classic. What was the most outlandish purchase you made?
Probably my Grumman Albatross seaplane. It's a huge, beautiful beast of a plane. It wasn't practical, but man, was it fun.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Everything in moderation, including moderation. Work hard, but don't forget to live. Find your own Key West, that place in your mind where you can be yourself. And always, always keep a sense of humor.
Jimmy, do you have any closing remarks about this interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before we sign off?
Just that I hope people remember to take a breath and enjoy the view. Life is a pretty short trip, so you might as well make it a first-class ride. Thanks for letting me tell a few more tales, Calvin. It's been a blast. Fins up, everybody!
Jimmy, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute honor to walk through your incredible journey from the docks of Alabama to the heights of Margaritaville. Your spirit of adventure and your ability to turn life's hiccups into songs is something we can all learn from. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.